All right. Big game tonight. The nightcap, Rob. The LA Clippers at Dallas. They're down 2-0. And if they lose this series, it doesn't matter if they get swept or if they go in 7.
Right,
I mean, obviously it's worse to get swept. But yeah, if they're at a stage where it's championship or bust. And to get beat in the first round, oh my, it would look horrible. And here's what I think is going to happen, Rob. I'm gonna lay out what I think is going to happen over the rest of the series. I think Dallas wins tonight. Goes up 3-0 with basically an insurmountable lead. No team's ever come back from a 3-0 deficit in the playoffs. And then I think Dallas, which is young, gets a little complacent, and the Clippers win game 4 on Sunday. And then I think the Clippers come home in Staples and win game 5. And it's 3-2, but then I think Dallas closes them out in 6. Okay. So we'll see. I picked the Clippers to win the series. I'd love for them to come back.
Everybody and their uncle, right? Just
right.
About, I know.
But that's what I think. Where are you at on this? Any chance they come back?
I think there's a chance, but I think this could be franchise turning, Chris. This might be, and this is obviously they're down 2-0. It's not impossible.
4 times it's happened in the history of the league when you lose the first 2 games at home.
Right.
It's happened a few other times when you lost them on the road.
When you were down 0-2 and you
going
came
home.
back.
Right.
Exactly. So I think the way this franchise, maybe this is the turning point of this entire franchise. Embarrassed, in a hole, everybody's counting you out. You choked down a huge lead last year. Like, this is all bad. If somehow, some way they could turn it around, come back and win the series, then does that energize them? No, I'm trying to get the right words. Does it energize them to then take the next step and then, they break through because they were down and out. They were ridiculed. Everybody was saying, same old Clippers. They don't have any belief or confidence in them. Would that instill something in them, Chris, if they were to come back? That's the only thing I'm asking you. If they came back and won this series, what could that instill in them? That's what I'm asking.
I'm going to answer your question with a question, Rob.
Yep.
If Charles Barkley, Amari Stoudemire, and Steve Nash could step into a time machine and play for the Phoenix Suns right now with Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton, could they beat the Lakers?
It ain't that. No, I'm not. It ain't like that. I think you're being a little
taking it a little too far.
Yeah.
No, I mean, but okay. So if they somehow come back and win this
series, that they came back. It's not like it's never been done. Okay, would
this galvanize them to the point where they would start a run?
Do you think it could, from the standpoint of them overcoming the embarrassment? Like going back to last year, they've lost 5 straight playoff games. I think there's a good chance they win tonight. I don't think they're going to lose a 6th straight playoff game. I think there's a chance they'll win tonight. It's 2-1. Say they make a comeback and they win this series. Could it have that kind of impact? Is just what I'm asking. Could it?
Well, first I'll say this, and I hear you and Ty Lue talked about it. Just play with a sense of urgency, backs against the wall, that stuff. My only problem there, Rob, is that, and you said it, like, we've been embarrassed, nothing to lose. The games that they've had something to lose in these games, but I mean, the games in which they should have had a sense of urgency. The 3 previous games, game 6 last year against Denver. Okay, we were up 3-1. We let them get game 5. Let's close this thing out. Don't waste our times and let them go 7. They didn't bring urgency. They didn't show up and they lost. Then the next game, game 7, it's like, okay, look, let's close these boys out. We let them come this far. We gave them life. Let's end this thing and get on to the Lakers. They didn't bring it that night, game 7. And then game 2 this year, Rob, that was as much of a must win as there is when you're not actually in a do or die situation. And they didn't show up. They didn't bring it. They still didn't fight hard over screens. They still, didn't play with the urgency that you would think they would have. And so I don't know why I expect to see it tonight. I'm with you because they're talented, they're capable, but it's been so many times we haven't seen it that, one, I don't know that it'll get done. That doesn't mean they can't win tonight, but I got to say that. But to answer your question, I don't think it would be any type of magical, and I know you don't mean it this way, but, the quote unquote curse is lifted, or there's a burden taken off of their back and they go on this run. If they were to go on a run, they're good. I mean, on paper, you got two of the best, 20 players in the league. Kawhi's one of the best 10. Paul George, one of the best 20. You got a nice supporting cast. You got size. You can shoot. There's no reason on paper that they shouldn't be able to go deep in the West. And so if they somehow come back and win this series, who would they get? They're in the fourth side. They get Utah or Memphis, probably Utah. Yeah, they could beat Utah.
That's what I'm saying, right? I'm just saying,
I don't know that it would be, I know what you're saying. Would it be a momentum moment that
like a franchise changing moment from you can't count on these guys. They're this, they're that. They were down 2-0. They looked dead in the water,
right?
And they wound up winning. You know what I mean? The next 4, and they won the series. I'm just saying, could that change?
You know what that is? That's a good column. You know what I mean? If they win Game 7,
yep.
If they somehow come back winning 7, or they win this series, and then next thing you know, they're in the conference finals. They win the West. That's a great column. This is when the turning point started.
Like there's always a. You know what? It's funny. I remember writing this, Chris, when Tayshaun Prince blocked Reggie Miller. You remember that when the Pistons were playing. Yep. This is in 2004 in
one
Indiana.
One of the great chase downs.
One of the all-time
second only to LeBron's.
Right. Well, and in that case,
Reggie
should have dunked the ball. Well, Reggie should have dunked the ball. But anyway, my point was, when I saw that play, Chris, the first thing I wrote was, when the Pistons get to the NBA Finals, remember this play. Do you know what I mean? That changed everything. They would have been down, I think, 2-0 to Indiana in that series, right?
Right.
Instead, they wound up winning that game and make it 1-1. And I just remember that being a moment where everything turned, and I just think that could happen.
No, and certainly in that moment, you're right. You're absolutely right about that Tayshaun Prince block. This, like I said, I think it'd be a great column. I think it'd be a great talking point. It'd be a great storyline. Do I think it would be true? No. I think it would be that, hey, they finally started playing up to their potential. You know what I mean? But I hear where you're coming from. And it'd be great to see, Rob, because we all, whether you're a Lakers fan or a Clippers fan, we've all wanted to see Lakers Clippers. We haven't even seen them play in the playoffs, right? 2 years now, and it looks like we're not going to see them. Yep. And so, yeah, I hope you're right. And obviously they got a shot tonight, but they just seem to be up against a tremendous player in Luka Doncic, who's coming of age, and they don't seem to have the leadership, the intangibles, to reach their potential. We'll see tonight, certainly, Rob. I mean, we both thought it was essentially do or die in Game 2. This definitely is. Because as we said, no one's ever come back from 3-0 in a series. So we'll see tonight if the Clippers can stay alive.